So take us through, like, what was your first project? You started up a Roots and Shoots chapter there?
Yeah, I started a chapter, a club at the College of Worcester where I was.
And what's, just so folks, they may not know, what state is that in?
It's in Ohio, Worcester, Ohio.
Yeah.
So just about an hour south of Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your project?
Probably our biggest project while I was there was working on a sacred space. At our school, they had these very small rooms that used to be computer labs that they wanted to turn into rooms where students could retreat, where they could meditate, where they could pray if they wanted to, and that sort of thing. A lot of the clubs, like, you know, the club that was associated with the Catholic Church, or maybe the Buddhist or the Muslims, wanted to adopt the spaces and make it a space for their, you know, their religious practices and that sort of thing. And our school was happy to accommodate them, but they really wanted spaces that any student could use. So it was a perfect fit for Roots and Shoots because we weren't necessarily associated with any religious practice, and we were able to turn our room into a room that was, you know, nature themed. We had a full wall mural of a birch forest, which is really cool because Dr. Jane's home in England is actually called the Birches. So that was sort of our nod to Dr. Jane, and we filled it with plants and quotes about nature and that sort of thing. And for, you know, a school in Ohio, the winters can be kind of challenging. So it was really a space where students could go and feel like they were in this little oasis and, you know, listen to a nice fountain and just retreat and do their meditation.
So your project for Roots and Shoots, that's interesting, because when you first said Roots and Shoots, I thought, and explain what it was, I thought, okay, maybe it's environmental projects, but it's anything that helps create, what, sustainability? Or
sustainability, it's really whatever interests the individuals who are involved. So in our case, we saw this opportunity to draw students' attention to nature and how nature can be restorative, and hopefully through that be more appreciative of nature when they were out in it. So it was a perfect, you know, perfect fit for a Roots and Shoots project, and one that hopefully would have a lasting effect on students.
So, like, what's an example of a project going on now in Danbury, led by either a high school student or a college student?
Well, I would say one good one is our Roots and Shoots group over at WestCon is working really hard to celebrate Earth Week this week, and we have the Wolf Conservation Center bringing Atka the wolf to school tomorrow at 4, actually. And then Wednesday we have a day-long Earth Day fair where the Debate Society will be doing a debate on water issues. We'll have a bunch of different groups, campus clubs, other organizations tabling on campus, giving people information about environmental issues.
So what happens, like, when a wolf's brought on campus?
It's actually
What's the security like?
Yeah, it's actually a really amazing experience. Atka is one of the Wolf Conservation Center's ambassador wolves. So he goes around and does educational programs with people and is there to show people that wolves are not the scary beasts that they're portrayed, you know, just as chimpanzees are portrayed as these, you know, really lovable little, you know, little guys. Wolves are portrayed as being evil, and so Atka is really there to show people that wolves are, you know, not what we typically think they are. So so Earth Week
seems like a natural interface with Roots and Shoots, but I'm assuming you probably have different kinds of projects and initiatives going on all year.
Yeah. Yep. All year.
Now,
different
do people just have to
and that
be?
Sort of thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Do people just have to be youth, or do you have people of all ages involved?
Well, it actually started, as I mentioned, you know, with high school students, and we're working with university students, but Dr. Jane has this motto that every individual makes a difference, every individual matters, and every individual has a role to play. So when you hear Dr. Jane speak, she really, really drives the Roots and Shoots message home to every single person that hears that motto and that message. So we really want anyone and everyone to be, you know, involved with Roots and Shoots and working with young people in their communities to get them engaged, thinking about their own personal choices and making, you know, ones that are better for our earth, for their communities or for animals, that sort of thing.
So would it typically be a project led by a youth that someone of any age could then help out with, get involved
Absolutely.
with? But it wouldn't be, you wouldn't find somebody older
You actually,
like me, leading a project.
No, actually, quite the opposite. We've had corporate teams get together and do projects in their businesses and bring, say, sustainability to their offices. We've had Roots and Shoots work done in prisons, actually, where where different teachers that we've been involved with have brought the Roots and Shoots message to inmates that are there and talked to them about those issues and that sort of thing. So it's been there. There's been connections with retirement homes and assisted living facilities and that sort of thing. So it's really all over the place. And actually, thinking about retirement homes and individuals who are older, I just love the idea of working, connecting young people with the wisdom and the knowledge that's there. So those kinds of projects are really inspiring to me.
Yeah, I think our society, unfortunately, sort of worships young people and doesn't tap into
really true.
the elders' wisdom as much as we could. So that's a great forum.
And that's such a big thing that we really advocate, is that every Roots and Shoots group needs mentors, and a lot of the ways that student clubs and that sort of thing, they call for whatever their system calls for, a mentor or a advisor. And anytime I'm talking to a Roots and Shoots group, I tell them, if you don't have 3 or 4 or 5, then you're going to be suffering, because you can really, really benefit from their wisdom and their knowledge and their problem-solving skills.
How many people are typically on a project?
It really varies. When I had my Roots and Shoots group at the College of Worcester, we had about 5 or 6 people that were really active all the time. But we had our huge database of people that were interested in our projects. So, our small group of people would plan the details of the projects, and then we'd send emails out, and everybody would come and join in. So really depends on the group dynamics of your school or your community group or whatever, and how it ends up being.
So when you graduated, you were recruited to move out here to lead up this youth leadership program.
Yeah, actually, I was a part of the College Leadership Council and then became the first graduate fellow for Roots and Shoots. So recently we've added these positions that are one-year positions, one for a recent high school graduate and one for a recent college graduate. And I started as the graduate fellow, and then this past year was able to move into my current position, where I do work with university students and our youth leaders.
So you have a permanent full-time role.
Yes.
So you've been with this group for a couple years now?
Yeah, I started my Roots and Shoots group about 4.5 years ago, and was the graduate fellow in 2007 and 2008, and then started as a full-timer in this past fall.
So how are you finding it? What's your greatest challenge and your greatest accomplishment? Give us some headlines.
Yeah, well, I would say my greatest challenge is that when I think about that question, I think about one thing that a professor said about me, that sometimes I'm like a sparrow and have trouble zeroing in on what I want to do, because there's so many issues out there that really deserve and need attention, and it's just tough, trying to decide where your time and your energy is going. So I think that's one thing that I'm learning, is how to give my time wholeheartedly to things that I'm really passionate about.
So to prioritize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and the greatest achievement, it's really interesting, because I think that every couple of months I have a new greatest achievement, and it started with meeting Dr. Jane, and that was the greatest achievement of my life. And now I get to hear about all of the Roots and Shoots projects that are happening all over the world, and I get to say that I'm a part of helping to make that happen. So that's a really a thing that I love to know that I've contributed to. So
do you travel to the different offices, or you primarily do it out of the Danbury office?
Yeah, I work primarily out of the Danbury offices, connecting with people electronically and that sort of thing. I do travel down to Washington occasionally to meet up with our staff down there for different events and conferences, that sort of thing. So,
okay.